Hi everyone, I'm back. Finally, wow, when was the last episode? I don't even remember. But as you know, and as you see in the title, today is finally the Q&A episode. I've been looking forward to this. I wrote down all the questions and all the answers. I have to admit, you guys have definitely challenged me with those questions. First of all, I didn't expect any questions at all because I've tried it before and no one sent anything. But now, thankfully, my channel is growing, so there are more active people here. So I am very, very grateful. Thank you guys. So maybe before we'll begin the Q&A episode, I just wanted to kind of share why it took so long for the podcast to come back, or for this episode to happen. As you guys know, or maybe you don't, I live in Israel, and if you guys have watched the news, you know that in the last few weeks we were in a war with Iran, and it was a really hard time. And but thank God, my family and I are safe. We're good. Unfortunately, some people in our country have paid the price of this war, civilians. But overall, in spite of the pain of what happened, we were expecting a much bigger disaster than what actually happened. So in a way, it was a miracle what happened. I'm sure that the families who lost their loved ones don't feel the same way. I know, but to think about what really could have happened if we didn't know how to protect ourselves or to defend ourselves from those missiles, then the damage would have been much, much bigger. So thankfully, most of us are okay. We still need our sleep. Something has gone wrong with our biological clock. We're still all complaining about how hard it is to go back to sleep a full night, then functioning normally during the day. But with time, I believe we will be okay. Other than that, during the war, while we kept running to the bomb shelter. During those days, my dog, my Jenny, she was dying. And even though it only took a few days, 3-4 days, it was very painful to watch. Eventually, she passed away. She was 17 years old, a little over 17. She had a good life. She was a healthy dog, thank God. And it's just the last few days were just really, really hard for her. But my comfort is in that she had a really good life. She was a very spoiled dog, and she was very loved. And now she's in puppy heaven, and I miss her. Whenever I watch a video with the dog, it just it heals me. But it is part of life. It is a day that I was afraid of ever since she turned 10 years old. And it finally came. And it's hard, it's very sad. And I will always miss her. She was the best dog ever. Life goes on. And so basically that's how I spent the last few weeks. And that's why I couldn't really record an episode, because I was busy defending my life, and then I was busy mourning my dog. But now finally I found a time where I can just sit down and record this episode. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it today. But then I got 2 more questions yesterday after a few weeks of people not sending questions, which made me realize that people are still thinking about it and still wanting it, and it's a huge compliment, I have to say. So, because of it, I am now sitting and recording this episode, and I'm going to answer your questions. It's unlikely that I'm going to answer all of them in one episode. There are 10 questions now, and they're all amazing. I have to say, you guys have challenged me with those questions, and I had to do my research, but it was fun. I'm finally getting questions. I always complained, kind of to myself, basically, that I wish I had more active followers, and now it's finally happening. People do communicate. You are commenting on my posts. You are voting in my polls. You guys are very active in this channel, and I'm so grateful. So now it's my turn to be active again, right? And just talk to you and share with you what I've learned about Michael. And I have learned a lot thanks to your questions. So, if you're still here and you haven't fallen asleep yet for my long speech, let's start with the first question. Okay, are you ready? Oh wait, how did I forget? I also talked to Ron Pia. Have you watched it? I don't know if I'm saying his last name right. I read it Pia. Maybe it sounds a little different. I don't know. But anyway, it's Ron. And he has this Facebook page, and he's what I will describe as a super fan. He's doing so much for MJ's legacy, and it is amazing. So on June 24th, I got to talk to him. It was supposed to happen on June 25th, but for some reason it happened the day before. He just wanted to test how it will work, how we can talk live. But then somehow that test became the interview, and it was really nice. I do have to share, if I am really, really honest, to talk to him as a believer when he is sitting there in what he believes is MJ's grave. I mean, listen, I'm a believer. I know what I know. I'm very confident in what I know. But still, it bothered me. I felt a little bad, it felt a bit hypocritical. But what you need to understand is, I do what I do because I believe MJ is alive. I do what I do for him because I'm hoping he's listening. Okay? And if I have a chance to honor him and show love and respect and share the story of why I'm doing what I'm doing, I will absolutely take that chance. The fact that Ron was there in what's the name of that place? Well, the grave site. I forgot the name of that place. It bothered my conscience a little bit. But at the same time, I was like, you know what, this is another opportunity for me to talk about Michael and to tell the world what I discovered about him and why I love him so much and why I do what I do for the last 6 years. So, I don't know what you guys think of it. What do you think of a believer talking to a non-believer who not only he not a non-believer, he was also there at MJ's grave, and I was talking to him knowing or believing that Michael isn't there, he's not dead. What do you think about that? I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section. Okay, now that I got that out of my chest, let's start with the first question. So, this is the first question that I got. It is from Natalia. Thank you, Natalia, for your question. And basically, Natalia is asking, why do some performers are copying MJ's style, his dance, his fashion style, and all kinds of stuff, but they don't really bring anything of their own, anything extra. Like, where's the magic? Like, Michael gave us a lot of magic. They are inspired by him, but they're not giving anything extra. Okay? So here's what I'm thinking. They can't give what they don't have. You're looking for magic, you're looking for that wow factor that Michael had. They don't have it. People cannot bring you what they don't have. What they are copying from MJ is really just the surface of his work, you know? What Michael did came from this very deep place. Michael is an artist in his blood, you know? He was obviously born to do this. A lot of people are performers, singers. They're not really artists. Why they don't bring anything extra? Because they don't have it. They don't have it in them. And a lot of the things that we see today are very superficial. People do what they do because they don't have the same respect that Michael had for his audience, for the fans. They don't have the love for what they do like Michael had. And of course, this is just my opinion. Okay, it's not based on anything. It's just my theory. Okay. Basically, what Michael did, all of his work came from really, really deep place. He was a very deep thinker. He read a lot. He researched a lot. He was very curious about anything. His family loves to say that he was a busy nose. He is a busy nose. Not was, is. I am a believer. Said it. And so everything he did, he gave it extra because he was extra. There was always something magical and beautiful in his work. They don't give extra because they don't have it in them. Does that make sense? When it comes to the dance moves, the fashion, whatever, they see the final result. They don't see the whole process, the thought process behind everything. So they copy only what they see. When it comes to the thought process, they don't think like him. They don't act like him. They don't have the same understanding as him. So they cannot bring, again, what they don't have. I hope that makes sense. I hope you're satisfied with that answer. You can write me again if you want. And thank you for your question. Now, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so some of the questions I wrote down, so I'm not going to share the screenshot. So the next question is, why did Michael choose a different mother for BG? So I've been thinking about it. And of course, we all have our theories and guesses. But you know what? At the end of the day, none of us know. And we don't know simply because this is a decision that Michael made in his private life. As you know, Michael didn't have a lot of privacy. People were always in his business. So whatever he could keep private, he did. And that's good for him. So I don't think we should get into this or talk about his private life. Because, one, like I said, we will never know. And we're not going to know because it's none of our business, It's his life, why he's doing what he's doing. It's his life. It's his choice. He knows what he's doing. We don't know what's going on back scenes, And, like I said, it's none of our business to know. So I can't answer that question, sorry. But I think he made a right choice. I mean, BG is great, right? So yeah, that's my answer to that. Thank you for that question. The next question is, somebody wants to know what is my favorite album. So for years and years and years, it was Off the Wall. I even had a podcast named that, Off the Wall. And it still is. But lately, in the last few months, it changed to Dangerous. Dangerous is now my favorite album, simply because I kind of see it as a journal of MJ, like a private diary. As you know, Dangerous came out after the 93 allegations, and as you also know, Michael wasn't allowed to talk about what happened in 93. He wasn't allowed to share his side of the story, what he experienced. So he found an artistic way to do that through music. And that album is very sad. He went through a lot of really hard things. And he told us pretty much everything he went through. He found this really great way to share with us what he felt about everything, how he felt about people that were involved in that story, and in general, how that time was for him, and how he felt about people, about greedy people, etc. And yeah, like I said, it was a very sad album, but you know what? He is an artist, and this is exactly what artists are supposed to do. Touch our emotions, share their emotions. And if they are sad and hard, well, it is what it is. That's what he went through, and he shared that with the world. And that's what makes him so unique. Like, he really, he's not afraid of emotions. He's not afraid to share anything. He is so real. He is so true, first of all, to himself, and then to his art, and then to his fans. I think he really respected us by sharing us the very private emotions he felt in those days. And yeah, that's what makes him an artist. So I hope that answered your questions. Yes, my favorite album is Dangerous for now. Who knows, that might change in the future, but right now that's my favorite album. Okay, next question. So the next question is pretty easy to answer. So someone was asking me, do you think Michael trusted animals more than he trusted people? And do you think he trusted children more than he trusted adults? Yeah, obviously. Obviously, he couldn't trust a lot of people because people saw him as, what's it called? The golden goose? Not golden, how do you call it? Basically, just someone they can use. Okay, they saw him as a money machine. They saw him as someone that they can just take advantage of, So, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious why he couldn't trust people. I mean, we just talked about the 93 case. I think it's obvious why he couldn't trust people. So yeah, of course he trusted children because children just wanted to enjoy him, his presence, and to play with him, and do what kids do. They didn't want money from him. They didn't want anything. So yeah, of course he trusted children because children are real, So he needed that realness in his life, that truthfulness in his life, and children gave him that. So yeah, of course he loved animals more than he loved people. That's what I believe anyway. And children more than adults, yes. So yeah, that was an easy question to answer. So let's move on to the other one. Oh, why did I say one question? Look how many I have just from this one follower. Thank you, the real CCE. And let me answer the first one. Is there a planned eraser of Michael Jackson's legacy in the state of California? Well, I'm not from California, so I don't really know. So I had to research a little bit, and what I found is, so basically, no, I haven't seen anything that says that, in California they're trying to erase MJ's name, legacy. There was a time when there was this school in California that had MJ's name in their auditorium, and they covered it for a while, but then they brought it back. And then, the allegations of Safejack and Robson came, and they thought to cover it again, but then people voted, and then they decided to not remove it. So I guess they believed that MJ is innocent. Since not everyone is stupid. And also, I don't know. I mean, do you mean like when they changed the name of Neverland? It is now called again the Sycamore Valley Ranch. It is no longer Neverland. At least not officially. To us, it will always be Neverland. I hope you guys feel the same. This is MJ's place. I don't care who owns it now on paper. This is MJ's place. And it will always be Neverland. It is a place that was MJ's home. As far as I know, it was the only place in the world Michael called home. And it was a place of happiness. And unfortunately, there were people that made it their life mission to ruin his happiness. But, I don't know of anything that is happening in California that, they are purposely erasing MJ's name. And not just in California, really. I mean, ever since this mockumentary, I should say, more and more people, not only they don't cancel Michael Jackson like some sort of snake asked us to, people are discovering the truth and learning who Michael really is, and just like me, they absolutely fall in love with him. And I think, thanks to that mockumentary, we also learned the real story of what happened in 1993. I didn't know the story because, again, like I said, Michael wasn't allowed to talk about it. But, there are other people who had the truth, and they shared it with us, and we learned it. So, not only Michael isn't erased, he is actually, I believe, is now more loved than ever, more respected than ever, more understood than ever. And I think that only good things will come out of whatever is happening right now. I know that these two, forgive my language, shitheads are still trying to get money from MJ's estate, but you know what? The truth will win. I've been saying it for years. The truth will win. I am 100% certain of that. And they will be humiliated. I don't know if they'll actually pay for their lies if they'll sit in prison like they deserve, but they will pay for their lies. And that's it. That's what I have to say about that question. Thank you for sending that. Let's see what is the next question you sent. You're asking, was MJ's burn surgeon the best at the time? Well, of course. Here's what I found. So, of course, I needed help from ChatGPT. And it says, yes, Michael was treated by Dr. Stephen Hofflin, a highly regarded plastic and reconstructive surgeon in Beverly Hills, known for working with many celebrities. After the Pepsi commercial accident in 1984, Michael received care from some of the top specialists in the country. So, yeah, of course, he got the best treatment. Obviously, this wasn't easy for him. I don't know exactly how many surgeries he had to do on his scalp, on his head. But I know they were many, and he suffered a lot of pain. And that was just one of the reasons why he took painkillers. and unfortunately he got addicted to them. But he suffered from real pain, So yeah, it wasn't easy, but he did get the best treatment, um, just like he deserved. But unfortunately, it wasn't the perfect treatment. He somehow functioned with it, um, with the injury, with the pain. He was still amazing and number one, right? So, thank you for that question. Let's move on to your next question. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna answer just one more question and then I'm gonna save the rest for the next episode, okay? I know it doesn't seem like it, but I answered pretty much a lot. I don't know, I think like 8 questions so far. So I'm gonna leave the rest for the next episode, and I'm just gonna answer this last one that I found very interesting. And the question is by, again, the real CCE. Were there any injuries in Neverland? So of course I had to research that as well, and it said no, there are no known injuries that happened, And then I was thinking, you know what? If something would have happened, don't you think the media would absolutely celebrate it on that? I mean, even if like the smallest thing had happened, if a kid fell and scratched their knee and then got up and continued to play, okay? And somehow someone would have found out. Oh, the headlines. Can you imagine the headlines? Children keep falling in Neverland. They keep injuring themselves, and Michael is paying hush money and this and that. They would have, like I said, absolutely celebrated on that and just continue to spread lies and whatever. So no, there are no known injuries that happened in Neverland, and thank God for that. Because like I said, the media would again try to use that to destroy MJ's image. So yeah, that's my answer. Anyway, just wanted to say thank you guys for your questions. I have a few more, and like I said, I'm gonna save them for the next episode. This was fun. I honestly, and I thought I promised to record this today, but I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do that. And then I did, and I'm so happy that I did. So thank you guys for your questions. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. Please use the comment section. Let me know, what did you think of my answers? Do you have better answers? Do you have more questions? Like I said, next episode I'm going to be answering more questions, so feel free to add more questions. They are fun. And that's it. I mean, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. And as I always say, keep love alive.